Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Because I'd rather not use the mic.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Gareth, for giving me the opportunity to read, and thank you for having to follow that reading. Thank you. This poem, when I was at university as an undergraduate, the university gave us the opportunity to study Esperanto as an option, and two of us flocked to take up that opportunity. So this poem is about Esperanto. It's called Yen Nia Mondo, which is Esperanto for This Is Our World, and it's also the name of the textbooks used to teach Esperanto. What a strange little man taught us. This is going to be a symphony of A's and maybe O's. In Batam Bang it'll be babble, a fat lot of good, and in Pakistan you'll be hard put to bag a man to chat to. I'm still a fan though, and can prattle on in praise for days. Let me count the ways this tongue, this lang can tangle languages, can lift the roof off diplomatic wrangles. Oh Dan Con, oh my, oh man. Recall the lunchtime lessons in the language lab, or rather in the room above the language lab. Just you and me and Dr. Oh Stefano, Alejandro, Joseph B. Why we could be anywhere, and yet my creepy old A-line heart is planted back in O Vienna and Salzburg, Wie liebst du, where people address me in German because of my blonde plaits and blue eyes, never in Spanish or French in Paris, though once in Flemish in Brussels. But Yen Nia Mondo shrunk to the fat triangle of Europe, with Eilat, Tel Aviv, Taradant, batting their lashes, shaking their swag at this Euro gal with a mouthful of Romanic, Germanic, Slavic patter off pat. This next poem, I wanted to write something around the northern vowel O, and this just kind of wrote itself out of that, and it's about a row, and it's called Their Raymond Carver Row. She took umbrage at his comment, fumbled for a comeback. He took a pot shot at her crackle glaze, stung by her stubbornness. She felt the blow of his barbed remark, undone by her lapse of taste in stoneware. He knew her well enough to undermine her through her crockery. She'd never loved the umber pots, had gone against her instincts, was done for by a stumble of confidence in the face of a hand-thrown jug. He saw her face crumble and almost relented, but triumph rose in his chest. I live in Manchester, in Whalley Range, and this is a kind of love poem to Whalley Range. It's called Whalley Range, I Love You. Tatterfronts, this is where we buy our phone calls to Lagos, Addis Ababa, Karachi, cheapest deals here. This is where we buy them, and we buy them also for Krakow, and where we also buy our sausage, our cabanos. Beautiful fashions, beauties in fluttering breeze front, and we buy our coconut oil, our pure coconut oil, and our cocoa butter, which is so very soothing, best brands here. Here is our nourishment, and our nourishment comes in all flavours. Flapping awnings over yams, over good hard yams, and this is where we buy our peppers, big peppers like old woman hands, and bonnets like little bombs, those firecracker bonnets. And here's where we buy our cider and our red stripe, our cold cans in 1s or 6s, and our bottles of bells. Dimness of 7 stars, this is where we buy our extra purified butane in little cans, and our camels. And this is where we buy our vinyl, our Toots and the Maytals, our Joy Division. And this is where we wait and smoke by the car wash, best hand wash here, ladies' days, Wednesdays. Here's our fried chicken and our ackee, and here's our service wash. But no duvets today, just not possible today, no chance. And chips and rice. Here's where we buy polystyrene chips and rice and polystyrene tea, polystyrene coffee and mango Rubicon and fireworks, gram flour, Pringles, Arm & Hammer, plastic doilies, catering pans, tablecloths, all very cheap, love. This next one is called Cave, and it's part of a sentence from a book of essays, book of travel writing. And I like the sentence, which was about a cave, but I thought I would have a play with it and make it more cavey. So this is Cave. The very chamber, a very chamber, an iron chamber. It's like a chamber, it's like the inside of like a cranium, like a cave, as though the chamber, like a cranium, like an iron red, like the very iron street chamber, like the iron red, like the inside, as though the cave were thinking us. This one is inspired by my teenage daughter and her online and phone interactions with her friend. And I was interested in their overuse of the word pretty, which they just use incessantly, and they kind of invest it with so much meaning at the same time, just strip it of any meaning altogether. So I had a little play with Yahoo, and this is the Yahoo pretty scale. I believe that the happiest girls are the prettiest girls. My makeup will have to be pretty close to perfect for me to go to school or out in public. It's getting pretty old being a second choice to everyone. I'm pretty gutted. Pretty much my whole life was on that phone. How pretty is my MAC Diva lipstick? My dogs are pretty much the cutest thing ever. Do you think she's prettier than me? You're so pretty. So pretty, but in a conventional way. Everyday pretty. Family saying pretty in earshot can mean plain but a being kind. Pretty is the new skinny. Pretty is the new loud. Pretty is the new smart. Pretty is the new talent. Ugly pretty is the new pretty. Pretty is like cute. Beautiful is almost gorgeous. Here's the rating scale for pretty. Cute, pretty, beautiful, gorgeous. This next poem is also inspired by something online. It was, I started transcribing a podcast of a discussion about Gertrude Stein. And when I read it back, I thought, oh, I quite like that. So this is called Pleasure in the Portraits. Pleasure in the portraits, pleasure in what is not. It is not a repetition. This is just the present. This is just insisting. This is the just repeat. It got people's goats. Mannerisms got people's goats. Pebbles of literacy. A sand heap. A stutter. A Stein stutter. A shutter stuttering. What? The next two are me rewriting parts of the Bible. And this one is the conversion of St. Paul, and it's called Brother Saul. Fahrenheit 83. It took its toll, the heat. Do you believe that a brother of mine would sell his soul for a cool room or a cold draught, or that he'd end up on Straight Street? He called out, Jesus! Evoked it like a spell, kicked up his feet and the sky flashed, the world fell like a tower of cards, the ace atop a jack, the king triangulating a four, and sound rang like the whole cloudless blue was the score, and he the chosen instrument. So something like chords or scales fell from the skies. Oh, those on high, will you just listen for a minute? You missed what I became in that moment when it all went white. And this one is inspired by Song of Songs from the Old Testament. It's called Song for Two Voices, and it roughly starts and finishes with an Arabic proverb. He's a big man and this is how he rolls. He fasted a whole year, then broke his fast with an onion. He has teeth like palaces of dictators. On summer nights, the moonlight plays on his teeth and it is sweet music. Along the coast of North Africa, the sea draws back, appalled. Oh, my pomegranate-hearted love, he says. She sits in the shade of a tree beneath its red suns. Her hair runs over her shoulders like a fountain and pools in her lap. She's sweet like water. The beautiful is always, always bizarre, she sings. Each note clear as a pomegranate seed held up to the light. Oh, how I love those little bones. When the women paint her hands with henna, they dip the brush into lemon juice to fix the pigment, and no one has eaten since sunup. The sheep gather nervously. Someone is sharpening the big knife. Hunger makes a man sharper. A feast will come later, and for those who wait, the onions of the meek, the cumin of the pure of mind. She drinks tea from a glass, and there are salted almonds on a plate. In her earbud, 2-pack. Her heart is plump as roasted pigeon breasts. A secret is like a dove. When it leaves my hands, it takes wings, my love. I was brought up in Blackpool, which is a strange and interesting place to be brought up. And I found myself recently writing more and more about Blackpool, so I'm going to read a couple of Blackpool poems. And because the fun never sets in Blackpool, just for fun, this one is shaped like Blackpool Tower. It's called Blackpool. So you go for a ride atop the tower with the glass floor that's called the Walk of Faith. And it is a walk of faith to walk and talk with you, oh my beau. And one day under the tower I saw the Chuckle Brothers filming a sketch, and the wind would come in off the prom like a punch in the face, like a truncheon to the back of the head, like being whipped by a string of frozen sausages. That's the way to do it. And you can't grow up in Blackpool without one of the rites of passage being hanging out in the arcades when you're a teenager. So this poem is called Arcadia. Cherry, cherry, bar, bell, lemon, bell. Lemon, lemon, watermelon, plum, cherry, bell. 7, bar, bell. Kiwi, watermelon, lemon, plum, 7, plum. Cherry, kiwi, grapes, bar, grapes, bar. Cherry, cherry, strawberry, plum, bar, bell. Nudge, nudge, plum, plum, hold, bell. Bar, bar, watermelon, kiwi, watermelon, lemon, bell, bell, bell. This is another Blackpool poem. It's called Seashells for Shore. Wide sand and the wide, wide sand and sea stink. Under pier, dank sea stink. Salt stink. Green seaweed, dank dabalocks. Hair slime, green slick gutweed. Pier rust and black pier legs. Green licked, sand ridged, hard paved, Marcel waved, worm pocked, worm cast and toe sink. Cold toe sink and wind whip. Hard iron wind fist, and gritty sand eyes, blink, re-blink, wind rip, razor shell thin, flick knives, flick shell, brown lines, brown brine pools like weak drink, pale ale, beige foam like damp lace, murk and dark, mussels, sand eyelids, vein blue, shell cracked, grit-eyed, blue blur, open clack, pan boiled, sea stink, salt drink, brine thick, tongue tang, crack, crackle black bladderack, snap bud, char pod, black husk, black leg ironwork, filigree under pier apparel, sand drift, tide line, and the wide, wide sand. A poem that I'm very fond of is transcription of a Nightingale song, which is written in 1830s by John Clare, and it's literally the transcription of a Nightingale song. So I kind of took that idea and, coming back to Gertrude Stein, I imagined if Gertrude Stein had a parrot, this is what he would say. Pipirip, 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 oh Alice, be done. Pipirip, be done. Pipirip, be done. Oh Alice, be done. A rose is a rose, is a rose, is a rose, is a girl with a fringe in a frame in a pose. Picasso, 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 be done, be done, be done. Picasso, be done, Picasso, be done. Oh Alice, oh Alice, oh Alice, Marie, Marie Laurenson. A carafe in a glass, in a bottle is glass, and a sky like a glass, and a look in a glass. Reflection Van Vechten, reflection Van Vechten. Button, button, button. And the last one I'm going to read is about another of my literary heroes, Virginia Woolf. It's going to be called Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Because I am afraid of Virginia Woolf. But I thought I'd make her less scary by subjecting her to an anagram machine. So it's now called Who's Afraid of a Virgin Wolf? Fair lingo I vow, if original vow, ring via folio, via flow origin, via wolf origin, via foul origin, via fool wiring, viola of wiring, viola if rowing, viola in fig row, viola frig wino, a vigil for wino, a fig violin row, if a violin grow, if a wool virgin, if in a low vigour, if I wrong viola, I flow in a Virgo, I flow in virago, now fig ravioli, via girl of Ione. Thank you.